Hi friends, welcome to RBI Grade B. We are back with yet another important lecture on the management series that we are doing for you. So in this particular lecture, we will begin with functions of management. But before we start the lecture, it is very important. So the prerequisite for this lecture is you have watched intro part 1 and intro part 2, right? Intro part 1 and intro part 2 will form the base for this particular lecture. So it is very important you watch both the lecture, the part 1, the first, then the part 2, and then you come to this lecture if you haven't watched those two, right? So let's begin with the functions of management. First, what do we understand by the functions of management and what are functions of management, right? So let's first see what are functions of management. In simple terms, functions of management can be divided into 5 parts, right? One is planning, the second is organizing, the next one is staffing, the fourth one is directing, and the fifth one is controlling. But look here, we have to understand that management is a social process, right? Social process means the human beings are involved, right? So you can't alone do management. So you have to take people with you and then you can perform management, right? And how will you perform? You will perform on the basis of functions of management, mostly this 5, right? And you see, for theoretical purpose, we are separating it. But they are actually, I will tell you, actually inseparable. They are actually inseparable. So means, see, if I have to draw it like this, I can make a star. Means they are completely interconnected. Okay, and very much overlapping, right? So you will have to keep this in mind. So when you are learning planning, let's say when you are learning planning, okay, so this would be the first one. Planning is followed by what? Organizing. So when you are learning organizing, you will find that there are few things that you are actually doing in real life, you are actually doing in the planning. So this completely depends from human to human being, since this is a social process, right? Since this is a social process, every human being is different. So for example, what you think is planning, the other guy may think it is as organizing. But yes, I told you it's not it's inseparable. So this doesn't mean everything is overlapping. No. If I write here, let's say, wait, let me write it. If I have to write it, everything, overlapping, then I would say no. This is completely incorrect statement. What is correct is it is just overlapping. Means there are few things that you will find overlapping. So keep in mind, for theoretical purpose, we have divided, not we actually, so this has been divided by the management thinkers. But since this is a social process, this is inseparable. You will find multiple things overlapping with each other, and it's completely dynamic. Why? Because see, if you are you are into the planning for a product based industry, you will see that particular planning holds no value in a service based industry. So this means this is completely dynamic. This depends, this vary from organization to organization. Even I will tell you, for example, Facebook is a tech company and also a social giant, whereas Google is also a tech company and a social giant, right? But when they plan, when Facebook plans and when Google plans, it's completely different. Why? I'll tell you. Google has an ecosystem, so it will plan within their ecosystem or something related to their ecosystem. But Facebook doesn't have Facebook is also an ecosystem for social media, but yes, it is not as penetrated into it is not as penetrated as Google, right? You won't find email from Facebook, you won't find drive from Facebook. It's just a social media, but it's completely different. Although they are very big tech company, the planning will be different. So that is the level of nature. Okay, that is the level of dynamic nature of management. Okay, so believe it, it's completely a social process. Why? Because it's a social process. So let's see some very important person relating to functions of management, O'Donnell and Knudsen. So these are the two people, whom you would find in almost all the theory. But yes, this functions of management is being given by them, right? So, but yes, when I say given by them, again, you would find definition from Henry Fowell, you would find definition from George and Jerry. So there are multiple management thinkers telling, exactly the same thing in a different way, or looking the same problem in a different approach. So their definition differs. But yes, when functions of management, when you have to study functions of management, these are the two names that you should not forget, right? So let's see the definition from them, and we have seen the name. So before we see the definition, let us understand what is planning, right? So now we have understood what is functions of management, right? How many functions of management? There are 5 functions of management, and they are completely interconnected. Means you can draw a star like this. That's the level of interdependence in each other. So let us begin with the first one. This is first, second, third, fourth. We will begin with the planning. So let's move forward. What is planning? What do you understand by the planning? Look, first of all, let me tell you, this is one of the basic functions of management, right? Now, what is planning? So when I say planning in layman terms, you will realize, you will visualize that there are few people, sitting together and talking to each other and writing something on a piece of paper is planning. Means they want to do something in future, for which they are, making a discussion, healthy discussion, and they are writing it down, right? This is what you understand. But it deals with chalking out a future course of action. So actually it's, chalking, or let us not write some hard words. It's like, writing the course of action, where in a piece of paper, in computer, in iPad, whatever. Okay, means what is defined here is goals. How you can plan? You can plan when a goal is defined, right? So this is the keyword. So writing the future course of action means what you will do. This is planning, but for what? For your goals. This is what you have to understand. That's the keyword, right? So let us take an example now. So this is an image from the Indian cricket team. You see, at sometimes in tea breaks, the captain, the captain would call the entire team and will discuss something, right? So see, they have a goal. They have to win the match. If they are batting, then they will have to set a big score. If they are bowling, they will have to take wickets. This is the goal. So they would plan. The captain would tell something, and again the team can also tell something. That would be a healthy discussion on what should be done next. Means future. What is defined? The goal is already defined, that we have to win in any course. If we are batting, then we have to put a very big score, and if we are bowling, we will have to restrict the opponent team with runs, and also we'll have to take a wicket. This is the goals. So I hope I could able to make clear what planning is. Now let us see the definition from the Knudsen O'Donnell. So according to Knudsen, planning is an intellectual process. Means see, okay, let us read first. The conscious determining of course of action, the basis of decision on purpose, acts, and considering estimates. Right? So see, it's an intellectual process. So intellectual process means you know the goals, right? And also you have that expertise to act on that goals. So that's the intellectual process. So basically, when we have in the in the part 1 of the introduction, we have learned about the management and administration. So mostly planning is something done by the administration. So now you see how lectures are interconnected. So if you have not seen the part 1 of the introduction, then you would not understand this particular thing, right? Why planning is not part of management and why planning is part of administration. I hope this is clear, right? Planning is actually not acting on the goals. Planning is deciding what would be your course of action to achieve that goals. That is planning. Now let us read a definition from Henry Fowell. So planning is deciding the best alternative among others to perform different managerial operation in order to achieve the predetermined goals. Look, the goals are predetermined, that we have also seen in our example. Now, best alternative. Look, there can be, let's say this is the goal, okay? So you want to reach there from here, you can reach it this way, 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 you can reach it this way. So there are multiple ways. So at times, this straight line would seem easy, I have to walk less, but understand there can be few other challenges in this path. Maybe the cost is more, multiple things, right? So let us not define in that way, but I hope you understand this thing. There are multiple alternatives. Even if you want to go somewhere, the roads, it's not just limited to one. So there are multiple roads that leads to the same destination. Even in the organization behavior, when you sit for a planning, there can be multiple alternatives, right? There can be multiple alternatives. For example, let's say for example, you want to build a car, okay? You want to build a car. Now for car, the first thing that you will need is the rubber and steel to make the body, rubber for the tires. Now for rubber, for tire, you will have multiple company, MRF, Seat, Goodyear. Again for steel as well, you will have Tata Steel, you will have Jindal Steel, right? Then you will have steel from SAIL, Steel Authority of, although I am not sure if SAIL is selling steel, but yes, there can be multiple steel companies, right? So in this case, whom would you select? Would you select MRF? Would you select Seat? Would you select Goodyear? This is a matter of discussion, right? So planning is deciding the best alternative among others to perform managerial operations. So I hope this is also clear, right? So with this, let's move and let's understand features of planning. Okay, what are the features of planning? The first thing, planning is looking into the future. Absolutely yes. You have a defined goal. The goals are already defined. So what you are looking into the course of action that you will do in the near future. So yes, planning is looking into the future. Then it involves predetermined lines of action. Yes, that is what you decide in the planning. You, in a piece of paper, you will write what you will do from time to time to accomplish that goal. This is planning. Then the third one is, planning is a continuous process. Very much true. And how we will, so if you get confused here, how planning is a continuous process? Let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say you want to manufacture a car, right? You want to manufacture a car, and first thing that you will do is planning for how to manufacture. And once you are done with half manufacturing, then you will again sit and discuss the marketing plan. How would you market this car, right? Which segment will you, then you will plan for the pricing. So everything. So planning is a continuous process. You have to plan every time, because many a times what happens is, what you decide the course of action is, when you practically do it, you see there are few or the other challenges. So again you go back to the planning and then amend it and again come back to the actions. Even when you are preparing for RBI Grade B, okay, so initially you might have thought that let me start with the Ramesh Singh, Indian economy by Ramesh Singh. But as and when you became an amateur in the preparation, okay, past 2-3 months, like let us take that example. In 2-3 months you gave a very serious preparation from Ramesh Singh. Later you realized Ramesh Singh is also important, and the other aspects like PIBs are also important. So what you do actually, it's a continuous process. You are facing the challenges, again you go back to your plan, amend it, again come back to the course of action. So it's a continuous process. Then planning integrates various activities of an organization. Absolutely yes. We have seen that we could make a start. So every other activities in the organization is somewhat related to planning, because everything is done by the plan as well. Then planning is done for a specific period. Planning is done for a specific period, yes. See, you want to do something. For example, once you are RBI Grade B officer, will you ever come back and think about how to prepare for RBI Grade B unless you are guiding someone? Absolutely no. So it is done for a specified period. So your plans for this study will be limited to the day you are selected in the RBI. So once you are selected in the RBI as an officer, you won't again come back and search the internet how to prepare for RBI Grade B. You won't do it. You will only do it when you have to guide someone. Else you won't do it, right? So it is done for a specific period of time. Then it discovers the best alternative out of the available alternative. Obviously yes. Okay, it discovers the best alternative out of the available alternatives. So planning is about actually talking about alternatives. How many ways are there to perform that activity and which is the best way to accomplish that or to do that. That's it. That's about planning. Then planning is a mental activity. Planning is completely a mental activity. You have seen the image in the last slide, multiple people sitting and they are brainstorming. So that is planning. You sit with the people, you think, that is planning. Then planning is required at all levels of management. Yes, planning is required at all levels of management because of the challenges faced by every level. Look, everywhere there are challenges, right? Your plan can be completely foolproof, but it cannot be challenge free, right? If now when I say challenge free, there can be a challenge which can be solved very easily, and then can be a challenge which will be very tough to solve. So the quantum may differ, but planning cannot be 100% foolproof or 100%, uh, a very good plan. If you say like this, the statement is like this: a good plan keeps the challenges away. No, this statement is completely wrong. Challenges will be there. So planning is, done at every level of organization. Every level of organization. Now, because who executes? The first plan done by the administrator of the organization, means the board of director, the CEO, the finance team, the project management team, everyone. What they will do, they will think about how to do. So they will prepare a plan and give it to the middle management, right? Middle management with the lower management will actually, so you remember the pyramid, top, middle, lower management. So middle management along with the lower management will think of an execution, how to execute. So this how to execute, this people will actually execute, means this people will think on how to execute the actual, the units. So, let me do it in this way. So maybe this is the plan, but this will be, broken into multiple pieces by different levels of organization. Okay, maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest, rest other areas remains the same. So planning is required at every level of management. Then it is the primary functions of management. Yes, since it is the primary function, we are studying it first. Okay, without plans, nothing can execute. Then growth and prosperity of the organization is depending on planning. Absolutely. So if the plans are not right, then the organization is 100%, it will fail. It will only sustain, it will only survive when the plans are, good. So prosperity and growth and prosperity of any organization is depending upon what? Planning. Now let's move to objectives of planning. What are the objectives of planning? The first thing is to reduce the uncertainty. Look, if there is no proper planning, even take this as your preparation. So while you are preparing, if you have not planned it well, once the exam comes up, you will find completely you will be very uncertain. And one day you will look at PIB, I mean you will look at current affairs, one day you will look at the newspapers, okay, at one day for editorials, okay, then one day you will look for the ESI notes, the other day you will look for the finance notes. Means there is completely uncertain, you don't know the next course of action, you are doing whatever you are feeling like that day. So if the planning is not done at at that level, at the level of starting things, then the course of the time where you have to perform the course of action to accomplish your goal will be completely filled with uncertainty. If I have to diagrammatically draw it, let's say this is plan, right, and this is the course of action, and let's say this is the goal, right? So while you were planning, so this is clear plan, this is clear path, you can achieve the goal. But while you were planning, okay, you did not plan it well, okay, so there are multiple loopholes. So maybe these green dots, consider this as loopholes. So when there are loopholes, so the path will be completely uncertain and goal will also look faded. So that's the level of uncertainty, right? So let's move forward to bring cooperation and coordination in the organization. See, when administrators pass on the, let me draw the pyramid. This is top, middle, and this is lower management. So when the top management passes a very good plan to the middle and lower management, the cooperation and coordination between them is at the top level, because everyone knows the course of action properly. So that should be there. Then let's move to the next one, to bring economy in operation. So again, when there is less uncertainty, you are actually doing things optimally, because middle management and lower management, they actually know that what should be done for each particular day and what are the targets, by when they have to achieve, what will be the quality parameters, everything is done in the planning and they know it. So they will work in a highly optimized way. Then helps to anticipate unpredictable contingencies. So again, I told you plans cannot be 100% foolproof from the challenges. So if there are any unpredictable contingencies, which in common layman term would be challenges, if there are any, it would be easy to sail through it, because there is a very strong plan given by the top management or the administrator, right? Then to achieve the predetermined goals. So obviously, yes. So you see, planning is done to achieve what? To achieve the goals. Then to reduce competition. Yes, obviously. How? Look, everyone knows their job, and to reduce the competition means there is no in the organization. What happens is, in the OB, organization behavior, what happens is, many a times employee will fight with each other to show the work to the management. So that would not happen here, because everybody is working on their micro plans, right? Then to increase organizational effectiveness. So yes, when you have economy in operation, means you are working optimized. There is absolutely very less competition. To reduce the to achieve the predetermined goals are clear to you. Okay, you have a plan to sail through the unpredictable contingencies. You don't have any uncertainties. There is very good cooperation within the organization. So this means the organization is actually very effectively managed. So that is the objectives of planning. Now let us see the advantage of planning. So let's say you want to build a project and if your plan is at the top level planning, then what will be the advantages? The advantages would be it helps the better utilization of resources. So the resources are very well utilized. Then it helps in achieving the objective. Yes. So the utilization of resources are, again, if you see the objectives, in objective we have seen the economy, right? Means everything is being used optimally. So that does mean it's the resources available with the organization is being utilized. Then it helps in achieving the objective. What are your objectives? The goals, which are completely clear. So when you have planned, obviously it becomes easy for you to achieve the goals. Then it helps in achieving economy in operation. We have already seen it. It minimizes future uncertainties. I hope I don't have to explain this line. It improves competitive strength. Again, no need to explain. Then it helps effective control. Effective control by whom? By the top management to the middle management, from the middle management to the lower management. Everyone has an effective control over every level in the organization. Means, in simple line, we can say there is a very good hold in the organization when it comes to people. It helps to give motivation to the employees, right? Yes. When there is proper planning, everyone knows what they have to do, what they have to achieve, what should be the time frame. Everything is clear to them. So this means it helps to give motivation to the employees. Then it develops rationality among management executive. Okay, it develops rationality among management executive, because see, at management executive means, you can say, middle management, people in the middle management. So they are, you know uh, they are very helpful, and again, they are very rational in the organization. Why? Because everyone knows the proper course of action, what they have to perform, what they have to achieve, what's the time frame. Then it reduces red tapeism. Absolutely yes, everyone knows their duty, so there is no chance of any red tapeism in the organization. It reduces and encourages innovative thought. Yes, when there is a proper planning, means the future course of action is decided, right? So employees are working to achieve those. Means there are no uncertainties, and when there are no uncertainties, it gives an employee a edge to think the more optimized way of working that, right? So it improves the ability to cope with changes. Yes, so you can, changes means challenges. All of a sudden, if a changes, if a change needs to be adopted, then that's a challenges. So then it creates forward looking attitude in the management. Yes, because lower level of management, those are the people who actually work at the product level. So when they have a proper plan, when they see everything is executed in a very, very fine and refined way, very optimally, their attitude towards the middle management and top management changes, because there is no uncertainty. They feel more secure, they feel more motivated, right? So that's an advantage of proper planning. It helps in delegation of authority. Yes, everyone knows their duty, and everyone knows the level of command that they hold over other levels. So that is an advantages of planning. It provides basis for control. Yes, because again, see, it's the repetition. It will be the repetition of same thing. Everyone knows what they have to do. So means basis of control is already defined in planning. So that's an advantages of planning, right? So again, let me take a pause and let me try to tell you one particular thing. So you have seen the features, objective, and advantages. Even in these three things, right, which look separated to you, you have found multiple things overlapping with each other, right? It's overlapping because it's a social process, human being is involved, so that's why it's a social process. So when we learn organizing and other functions of management, you would find the same thing, right? So now let us move to classification of planning, right? So classification of planning, first is operational plans, then it's tactical plans, then is strategic plans, then it's contingency plans, right? So these are the 4 classification of planning. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. We wish you very good luck from Team Grade B. Next, this classification we will take up in the next lecture. So happy and thank you learning.